Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anandia Arianti, and today I will present analysis article, and the title is on the untranslatability of translation considerations from Java, Indonesia. Okay, where is the translation? Translations, the practice of it connotes and the word itself has no single universal meaning, rather the retelling of a narrative in a new language has been conceptualized, understood and practiced differently over time and in various places. Despite the way translation is often casually used in scholarly and popular debates to include theories and practices that cannot be reduced to uniform significance, many of the word's translation traditions, and especially those of the non-West, have yet to be subject to analysis and interpretation. Such traditions often don't conform with the expectation of what modern, literate Western individuals have come to envision as the core dimension of translation. Javanese translation tradition. Java has a long literary tradition that goes back at least to the 9th century, when the Ramayana Kakawin is believed to have been composed. This work is part translation in the modern European sense of a South Indian Ramayana, part poetic creation in which the author went his or her own way in retelling the story. Many other Indian stories, poems, and treatises on various topics were translated and adapted from Sanskrit into Javanese in the following centuries. Why translate? Why tell a particular story? The Javanese texts I'm discussing don't always offer an explicit answer, and it is not unusual for them to gloss over the question in silence. In some cases, however, a motive is mentioned. Most commonly, the translation of a text is believed to bestow blessings, religious merit, and good fortune on the person fulfilling the task as well as those who read the text or listen to its recitation. For example, the opening lines of the Javanese tufa. At other times, a text which is clearly an adaptation of an Arabic work of Turk, it could have reached Java via a different language, is simply taught by the Javanese author without any reference whatsoever to an earlier text or to his having composed specifically Javanese version. Such is the case with a version of the Mikrot Nabi Muhammad copied in the 1920, a text which relates one of the crucial events in the prophet's life, received as a thing of the distant past no longer worthy of mention. There are texts like the one translated into English by Drews, 1978 as an early Javanese code of Muslim ethnics. According to Drews, they claim explicitly to be compilation of source materials from other and earlier texts. And the next, terminologies translation. In 18th and 19th century Javanese manuscript, the verb Jawa ke is sometimes employed to indicate translation. This verb from Java means literally to Javanize, to render Javanese, implying not a stress on the source language, the language from which of text being translated, nor on the process of carrying a story across, but but on the language it is being rendered in now. The focus on the Javanese-ness of the resulting text, which becomes its central feature, is telling. The use of Jawa ke was not limited to descriptions of the translation process from foreign language into Javanese. It was also used for text written in Kawi, a form of Javanese with a large component of Sanskrit. in which a body of literature was created between the 9th and 14th centuries. The next is comparative perspective. Although in medieval in Europe too, many anonymously translated texts can be found. There is also evidence of individual translator of their names, identities, and motive for translating a particular text. Refers to 12th and 13th century translations, typically from Arabic to Latin, often explain a translator's aims and provide details on the circumstance under which he worked. The Alfer in 1982. And in contrast, Javanese translators and authors, including those working on the Samut, regularly put forth apologies for their ignorance and dearth of skills. Their translations were often anonymous, is further this testimony to a particular individual's contribution being deemed unimportant in the late endeavor in which transactions were understood as collective work. And the last is conclusion. Especially in terms of attitudes taken towards Islam and its textual sources, the two translation contexts touch upon here were clearly radically different, a fact that strongly contribute to shaping the outcome of translation. Diverging religious convictions were, however, only part of the story. Aspects including patronage system, political agendas, and religious motivates are powerful elements in how translation happens. Such elements bear on particular ideas and practice of how text can and should and be retold in another language, and how this retelling are narrated and explained. Translation, be it in medieval Spain, late 19th century Java, or elsewhere, is always intertwined with broad cultural process, particular values, system, and social and political views, studying how people in various periods and place have conceptualized and practiced translation in both similar and diverse way and which our understanding of their multiple and often interconnect histories. The Japanese perspective discussed here suggests that in this culture translation was not so much a way to replicate or reproduce a foreign text in a highly accurate manners as an attempt to make it accessible and perhaps most importantly as the terminology shows the Japanese. Thank you. I think that's all from me. If there are any mistake, I'm sorry, and I hope the material will use useful for all of you. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.